All right, special guest Jay Skurski joining us, Buffalo News, who is very, very appropriate this week because of two reasons. A, well, obviously covers the Bills. And how many years Bills now?
Oh gosh,
Are you 20?
we're getting close. Yeah, we're
Okay.
getting close. But yeah, predating the Buffalo News, we're at 20. Yeah,
Okay. You also do some golf coverage as well, and the Ryder Cup is
but
this weekend, which I'm not surprised you're not there because of your Bills responsibilities. But if you had a choice, I think I know which one you would rather be attending than the Bills, Saints, or the Ryder Cup.
yeah, and it being in our backyard, quote unquote, in New York, is making it even tougher. I can't wait for it. We were talking to the Bills media room today. I was talking with Matt Bove, another big golfer, and we were just the scene has just got to be absolutely unbelievable down there. So yeah, definitely feeling a little bit of FOMO right now about not being there. But yeah, we're duty calls, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I got to tell you, like I had the great honor of being able to see the '95 Ryder Cup at Oak Hill in person, and I was there on the last day. And I mean, I don't know, man. I've been to Super Bowls. You have to. I don't know if I've ever been or seen anything better in sport than that. It was the U.S. lost on our home turf in Rochester, but I mean, just the insanity of the after party and the Euros going bananas and singing their, soccer songs and whatever and champagne everywhere. It was bonkers, man. It was so cool. And the golf was great and just the tension was great. The crowds were great. And now you fast forward to 30 years later, and it's even as so much bigger than it was then. So I'm gonna save the Ryder Cup for after football because football can probably be a pretty quick conversation, quite frankly. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so the Bills Saints, 16 and a half point favorites. The Bills going into this game, massive favorites. And the weird thing about the fan base, and I know you see this, is they get so frustrated with this team when the team is in the middle of the game and they have a little bit of an offensive lull. And I maintain, and I'm sure you and your peers in the media industry probably feel the same way, that Bills Mafia is kind of spoiled, right? I mean, this is a team that's been scoring 30 points per game on the regular. And when you score 30 points and you're ticked off because you didn't score more. I mean, nobody's going to be perfect in the NFL. Nobody is. But the Bills are about as close as you can be in terms of the offense at this point, right?
Well, I mean, look around the league, right? I mean, the Eagles need a last second blocked field goal to beat the Rams to stay undefeated, right? The Chargers don't look necessarily dominant in beating the Broncos to get to 3-0. I mean, the Bills are 3-0, and after they got by the Ravens kind of miraculously with the comeback, I mean, they've won the next two games handily against the Jets. And yeah, they definitely let the Dolphins hang around in that game longer than they should have, but ultimately it's a 10-point game. Yeah, I mean, spoiled is the right word, right? We're looking for perfection, and perfection is rarely found on the football field, right? There is the perfect game that we've dubbed that the Bills Patriots playoff game, but that doesn't happen ever, right? That's why that game has a nickname. So I think that it's maybe not perfection that you're looking for. It's eliminating some of those lulls. It's eliminating the three and outs on offense. It's getting some more three and outs on defense, right? The third down defense against Miami certainly was an issue. So are there things that this team can work on that I'm certain they have worked on during this 10-day break in between games in week 3 and week 4? No question about it. But ultimately, the wins are what matters. They're 3-0 overall. They're 3-0 in the conference. They are in the driver's seat right now, I would say, and I know it's early for the number one seed, and that is the goal for this franchise. And when you look around the league, what's happened with the Chiefs, what's happened with the Ravens in particular, what's happened in Cincinnati with Joe
Yeah.
Burrow going down, the conference race is shaping up really nicely for this team. So right now, yeah, don't worry about if they're, completely have hit their stride at this point. Worry about the end result, and the end result is 3-0 right now.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? I think too that people, because Josh has such a big arm, they have this expectation like, why isn't he throwing deep? And why is it, 3.5 yards per pass? And why is it, I heard somebody call him Captain Checkdown the other day. Like,
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
yeah, right. I mean, the complaint is, why are we only throwing, 7, 8 yard passes? because it works, right? I mean,
Because that's what the defense is giving him, and Josh
yeah,
Allen has learned at this point in his career, take what the defense gives you.
yeah,
That's a badge of honor. That is a compliment to what Josh Allen is. The guy doesn't turn the football over. I
yep.
mean, look at where he's come from when he entered the league to who he is now. I mean, he takes fabulous care of the football. And if Josh Allen and the Bills offense doesn't turn the ball over, good luck beating them, right? Because they have said, we believe that you're not going to be able to go on 4 or 5 sustained drives that end in touchdowns against us, which is probably what it's going to take to lose a game. And I don't know that there's a team in the league right now that can do that against this team. You know, maybe the Chiefs can. The Chiefs have shown, and we'll see. Right, they meet later in the season, and the expectation is they'll probably meet in the playoffs. But right now, you know, the recipe against Miami was we don't think that Miami's going to drive down 4 or 5 times and score touchdowns, and they didn't. Right, and so I think you know for Josh Allen to be criticized for his yards per attempt being a little bit down is insane to me. I mean, they're scoring 30 plus points a game. They're playing winning football. He's doing exactly what a mature, seasoned veteran quarterback should do, which is doing whatever it takes to win games and score points. And if that means relying on James Cook in the running game, they're doing that too. Those two guys, good luck if you're a defensive coordinator. Pick your poison, right? We're going to stop James Cook. Okay, well, then we're going to throw it. Or we're going to stop Josh Allen. Okay, well, then we're going to run it with James Cook.
And with the everybody eats, I mean, the defenses, who do we cover, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, he showed it the other night when on that flip pass to Jackson Hawes, right? Then no one's thinking he's going to catch a touchdown, even though he's had a fast start. But everybody else is arguably a bigger, better, more developed threat than he is in the pass game, and yet he's showing he can catch. So now your options are almost endless for the Bills offense, whether it's in the run or pass game, and they've showed it. So let's fast forward and flip it over to the defensive side of the football. Obviously, and I don't know if it was they were playing too much man. I know that's been part of the conversation from the Miami game. Maybe too much man and not enough zone, because when they were playing man and Trey was in it against Jalen Waddle, it didn't look great.
Yeah, I mean, listen, here. This is what my takeaway on the Bills Dolphins game in terms of the defensive effort. The Dolphins didn't have a play of 20 plus yards in that game, right? So there was a recipe that we're going to keep things in front of us, and we're going to make you, as I said earlier, march down the field 4 or 5 times and go on long sustained drives, and we don't think you can do that. And for a time, Miami did that, right? In the second quarter, they went on a really long drive. They were converting third downs. And yeah, Trey White did have a couple of tough moments against really, really fast receivers in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, maybe to a lesser degree. But I don't have a huge problem with the defensive approach against the Dolphins. I think ultimately it proved to be correct. They got to Tua and made him make the mistake
Yep.
that ultimately cost Miami the game, right? Deion Walker gets in his face and Terrell Bernard makes the interception, and that's it, game over. So I think that, you know, every week is going to be a slightly different defensive approach. Let's not forget that this team radically changed their personnel on that side of the ball this offseason, right? The defensive line was rebuilt. Number 2 cornerback was rebuilt. The safety tandem is relatively inexperienced together. And obviously, you're playing without 2 guys who were suspended. You're playing with some key injuries in Milano and Ed Oliver this past game. I think the runway for the defense to get to be where it needs to be is a little bit longer, understandably, right now. And so, yeah, they're kind of finding their way defensively. But as long as you're doing it and win, and listen, going into that game, if you said the Dolphins were going to score 21 points, do you think you're going to win the game? Everyone would say yes, right?
Yep.
You think you're going to get 22 or more on offense, and that ultimately proved to be the case. So they had a really terrible showing against the Ravens, who are a very good offense. And the last couple of weeks, I think they've done some pretty nice things defensively.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they've shown, I think, in a full breakdown of a full game that they've done the right things, especially from the approach to those particular games. And I mean, you brought it up, the fact that they get Hoyt and Ogunjobi back in a couple of weeks. They're going to get hopefully Maxwell Hairston back in a couple of weeks. The defensive effort, you have to assume, is going to ramp up even more at almost the best possible time, considering the schedule and where the bye week falls, right?
Yeah, I mean, you want to be playing your best football in December and January, especially defensively. So I'm going to give them a little bit of grace and give them a little bit of leeway right now that they are going to figure it out, that they need to figure it out. I mean, certainly, listen, the third down defense has been a problem going back to last year. It's got to get better, right? They've got to get more impactful pass rush from Greg Rousseau. They need Ed Oliver to be what he was in week 1 against the Ravens when he gets back. That injury is troublesome. It's disappointing that happened after, especially after the game that he had. They got to get Joey Bosa's snap count down. It's too high right now. They want him to be, I mean, he was at 80% of the snaps against Miami. That's crazy. And so, yeah, that's got to go down. So I don't want to gloss over all the issues that there are on defense right now, because there are some, right? You know, the safeties had a really, really bad week in week 1, and I think have gotten incrementally better. They're not to the level of Poyer and Hyde. And I know that's probably an unfair comparison because that was, you know, the best safety duo in team history, but you know, they're going to need Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop to be playing better than what they have at the beginning of the season when we get to December and January.
And the Saints, I mean, look, they got killed by the Seahawks. That's a lot of travel from them for them to go there and back and then up to Buffalo. So a lot of travel for a bad team, but they do show promise in certain statistical categories. They're actually pretty good against the run. They're actually pretty good with the pass rush. Their issue though is third down defense like the Bills, and their other issues, they turn the ball over way too much, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a young quarterback. Spencer Rattler is not a rookie, but he's, you know, by in terms of starts in the league, you might as well be.
Yep.
Sean McDermott historically has dominated those types of quarterbacks, young quarterbacks. There's two priorities for the Bills in this game. Number one is to play a complete game, right? Eliminate some of those lulls offensively, some of those lulls that we talked about defensively in terms of the third down conversions, that kind of thing. Number two is to get Josh Allen out of the game as early as possible in the second half. This should be a resounding victory. 16.5 point favorite says that. It's very, very rare that you see an NFL team favored by that much over another team. And so I think the Bills are, you know, Super Bowl contenders for a reason. I think the Saints are number 1 overall draft pick contenders for a reason. And so that needs to play out on Sunday at 1 o'clock. That is what there should be no letting this opponent hang around. You want to get this game in control as quickly as you can. You know, go up early, get the crowd into it. I don't think that Spencer Rattler is going to be able to handle the crowd in Orchard Park if the Saints go down early.
Yeah, no doubt. I agree completely, and I think this is going to be a significant victory. I think the Bills cover in this game. I just think the Saints rookie head coach, yeah, smart offensive mind, but you see too many of these rookie head coaches go into bad teams and bad situations and just aren't able to flourish quickly. And I think that's a big issue there. Okay, now to golf. You've played Bethpage Black, correct?
I've played it twice. Yeah. Yes,
Okay,
I
so
have.
so
Yep.
tell us about it for those of us that wish we have had the chance to play it but never have.
So the thing that stood out to me, I played Bethpage actually last year before the Bills Jets Monday night game. So it was relatively recent, actually, to the point where they had already sort of begun some Ryder Cup prep in terms of course conditioning and whatnot. Obviously, everybody knows about the length, and it is, you know, crazy long, especially if you play the back tees, some of which aren't even open during regular play because they don't want 8 hour rounds, which is probably what it would take when you got guys trying to play it from 7,700 yards who should be playing 6,200 yards.
Yep.
But outside of the length, the greens, and I've been blessed and fortunate to play some amazing, amazing courses. The greens to me at Bethpage were some of the hardest, fastest greens I had ever played. And I think that I'm really interested to see how those are rolling. You know, I played it in October, and so it's, you know, similar time of year to what it was or what it is right now. And so I'll be very interested to see the greens. You know, the rough is obviously a factor when you get to these, you know, major type of events, and Ryder Cup certainly qualifies for that. They're obviously going to play it long, but I just think that the modern game, these guys are so long that you really can't play it too long for them. They all hit it so far that it's going to be more accuracy off the tee. Can you
Yep.
get into the fairway? And if you can you hold the green, and then can you make putts? I mean, that's, you know, I know that's oversimplifying things, but I really think that's what it's going to come down to, because I don't think there are guys on either team who you think, oh, they're going to be at a disadvantage because they don't hit it long enough.
Yeah. Who do you like? I mean, I've been saying it, privately just amongst friends. I'm kind of nervous. I mean,
Yeah.
as an American and obviously wanting the US to win, but I feel like the European team is absolutely loaded top to bottom. And I feel like there is the potential of a little bit of weakness and inexperience on the American side.
Yeah, I like some of the new blood for the Americans. I liked Ben Griffin as a captain's pick. I would have liked to have seen actually even a little bit more. I didn't, Morikawa and Cantlay felt like just kind of a little bit of the old guard in terms of the picks. I would have liked to have seen Keegan as a playing captain.
Me too.
I think that would have really lifted up the team. I think they would have. I mean, obviously they're going to be, they're going to be motivated, at home to kind of, reverse the trend here a little bit, especially with what happened a couple of years ago. But I wanted to see Keegan be a playing captain. I thought he deserved it. I thought the way he was playing at the end of the year would have been really cool.
Yep.
And I think that would have given them the emotional boost that maybe they need. I'm with you. I think I haven't looked at the lines. I don't know who the betting favorite is, but just looking at the rosters and kind of the recent history, it just seems like Europe's got a really good thing going. I feel like they're the favorites going into this. I honestly do.
Yeah, and as obviously as a rooting American, I hate to say that, but as a realist and just looking at it objectively as a golf fan, I think even if you were looking to look at the world rankings, I think they have better world rankings cumulatively than the Americans do. I don't know that for a fact, but it seems like they would.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. And the cool thing for me is, when Liv split off and all of that was happening, and Tiger gets out of the game, and there was this whole, and COVID had something to do with this, obviously, but there's this, oh man, golf's going to collapse and golf's not going to be. And man, I got to tell you, I don't know. I think this is the most talked about Ryder Cup maybe ever, and covered ever, right? So golf's healthy.
I think so, and I love the venue, right? Bethpage is kind of the people's country club, right? It's a public course that you can get on, right? And if you're a New York resident like you and I, like we can play it for $80 or whatever it is. I mean, it's awesome that there's this world class course that that is welcoming to a class of people that doesn't always get to play it. And you mentioned covering at Oak Hill, like we've been fortunate and lucky enough, as our role in the media to get the opportunity to play Oak Hill. But I fully recognize that not everybody gets that opportunity. Well, everybody does have the chance to play Bethpage, right? And so I just think the everyman quality of that course is really cool. I think the atmosphere is going to be unmatched. I mean, we know New York golf fans can really get behind these types of things. We've seen it at the US Open countless times when it's in that tri-state area. So I'm really looking forward to just the home crowd and what does that do for the US team. Like they've got to figure out a way to capitalize on that emotion. I think Europe did that really well when it was in Italy a couple of years ago, and I think the US needs to figure out a way to capitalize on that.
And you said it earlier. Hey, Bills, end this game quickly so we
Yes.
could go watch the end of golf, right?
I listen. Josh is going to be wanting, like Josh Allen's going to be wanting to,
Right.
he's going to be checking it out. I'm very curious to see if he hops on a private flight to get down there and catch a couple hours. I would, if he doesn't, I know it's going to be killing him that he isn't there.
Yeah.
He would have been loving a Thursday night game this week for sure.
Yeah. Lastly, I know since you've been on with us so many times, I'm sure people know about your son. What's the latest with him and his golf career?
Yeah, he participated in the World Championships again this year down in Pinehurst, North Carolina. That's the fifth time that he's participated. He's made it all 6 years that he's been eligible, and it's a thrill. Right now, he's ranked 32nd in the world, so he's doing well. Playing, he's hungry. He wants it, and we got a very clearly defined goal next year. Next year will be the final year that he participates in this U.S. Kids Golf World Championships, and top 20 is the goal. You get to participate in this really cool. It's actually a Ryder Cup style event for the top 20 boys finishers that they do the next day on Pinehurst number 2, and so that would be pretty awesome. We got home beginning of August from that. We got home on a Sunday, and on Monday we were at the course at the driving range because he knows what he's working toward. And so it's a thrill for me to get to see him kind of go through this. And he's driving the ball. I hate to admit it, as far, if not farther, than I am at this point.
Wow.
Uh, Yeah, he's really picked up a lot of length this year. He's going through a growth spurt. He's very very tall right now, and he just bombs the ball off the tee. So he's developing nicely, I guess is the easiest, shortest way to put it.
Well, congratulations on the work. Thank you for taking some time with us. Continue the great work on both football and the occasional golf reporting. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend in sports. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. Thanks for having me, buddy.
You got it.